They say that when Kamehameha the Great died, even the ocean held its breath. The wind stilled, the waves hushed, and the very air grew heavy with loss. But how did a child marked by prophecy, hunted from birth, rise to become the founder of the Hawaiian kingdom, a figure so monumental that nature itself would mourn his passing? This is the story of Kamehameha the Lonely One, the warrior king who forged a nation from the fire of conflict and the strength of his vision. Our story begins in the mid-18th century, a time of warring chiefs and fragmented islands. A prophecy echoes across the land. A great leader will be born, one who will move the colossal Naha stone and unite the islands under a single rule. This prophecy hangs over the birth of a young chief named Paia. Fearing the prophecy, the ruling chief orders the infant's death, but the child is spirited away, hidden, and raised in secret. This boy, destined for greatness, would grow up to be known as Kamehameha. His early years were spent in the rugged wilderness, honing his skills as a warrior, learning the ways of combat, strategy, and the ancient traditions of his people. He was shaped by the harsh beauty of the land he would one day rule. When Captain James Cook arrives in 1778, it marks a profound turning point for Hawaii. The arrival of these strange, large ships and the pale-skinned men aboard brings new technologies, new ideas, and new dangers. For Kamehameha, now a formidable young warrior in the court of his uncle, Chief Kalani Gpou of the island of Hawaii, i.e., it is a moment of revelation. He studies the foreigners, their weapons, their ships, while others see them with suspicion or simple curiosity. Kamehameha sees the future. He understands that the power of these new tools, the muskets, the cannons, could be the key to fulfilling the prophecy that has followed him since birth. He begins to form a vision, not just of victory in battle, but of a unified nation, strong enough to stand on its own terms in a rapidly changing world. In 1782, the death of Chief Kalani Gpou plunges the island of Hawaii into a brutal civil war. The carefully balanced power structure shatters, and rival chiefs and their factions clash for supremacy. It is into this maelstrom of violence and ambition that Kamehameha steps forward. He is no longer just a warrior. He is a leader. His natural charisma, strategic brilliance, and sheer force of will attract loyal followers. He makes a bold move, seeking alliances with foreign advisors like John Young and Isaac Davis, to British sailors who become his trusted confidants. They teach him the art of Western warfare, how to maintain and deploy firearms and artillery with devastating effect. Kamehameha doesn't just adopt these new weapons, he integrates them into a disciplined, modern army, drilled with relentless precision. His war canoes are now mounted with cannons. His warriors, skilled in traditional combat, are now armed with muskets. The dream of uniting all the islands begins to solidify from a distant prophecy into a calculated military objective. The island of Hawaii becomes his fortress, the heart of his growing power, and the launch pad for his grand ambition. With the island of Hawaii consolidated under his rule, Kamehameha sets his sights on the neighboring islands. In 1790, he launches his first major offensive, a massive invasion of Maui. This is not a mere raid. It is a full-scale campaign, meticulously planned and executed with overwhelming force. His fleet of war canoes, a terrifying sight, darkens the horizon as it descends upon the shores of Maui. The battle that follows, known as the Battle of Kamehameha I, or the Damming of the Waters, is a brutal testament to his new military machine. The valley runs red as his cannon fire and musket volleys tear through the ranks of the Maui warriors, who fight bravely but are ultimately outmatched by his superior technology and tactics. The victory is swift and decisive. Kamehameha's reputation as an unstoppable force grows, sending ripples of fear and awe across the archipelago. The prophecy of the Unifier feels closer than ever. 5 years later, in 1795, Kamehameha prepares for the most crucial battle of his unification campaign, the invasion of Oahu. He assembles the largest amphibious force ever seen in Polynesian history, an armada of hundreds of canoes carrying over 10,000 warriors. They land at Waiheque, and the Oahu forces, led by Chief Kalanikpool, are pushed back from the coast, fighting a desperate, retreating battle up into the lush New Uanu Valley. Here, amidst the staggering beauty of the landscape, the final, tragic confrontation takes place. Hemmed in by Kamehameha's relentless advance, the Oahu warriors are cornered. With the steep, 1,000-foot cliffs of the New Uanu Pali at their backs, they have nowhere left to run. In a terrifying climax, hundreds are driven over the edge, their desperate battle cries lost to the wind. The Battle of New Uanu is a chilling, brutal victory, but it is the turning point. It shatters the last major resistance and brings the most populous and strategic islands under his control. The path to a unified kingdom is now clear. By 1810, only one island remains outside of Kamehameha's control, the lush and fiercely independent island of Kauai, ruled by the shrewd chief Kamehameha I. Having witnessed the fate of those who resisted Kamehameha's might, and facing the threat of yet another massive invasion fleet, Kamehameha I makes a strategic choice. He decides to negotiate rather than fight a battle he knows he cannot win. He travels to Oahu and formally cedes his island to Kamehameha's rule, choosing to become a vassal king rather than see his people suffer the ravages of war. With this peaceful surrender, the prophecy is finally fulfilled. For the first time in history, the entire Hawaiian archipelago, from the big island of Hawaii I to the Garden Isle of Kauai, is united under a single ruler. The Hawaiian kingdom is born. Kamehameha I proves to be as skilled a statesman as he was a warrior. He establishes a strong, centralized government, ending the centuries of constant warfare between rival chiefs. He enacts a series of laws, the most famous being the Kinuai the law of the splintered paddle, which protects civilians in times of war, a revolutionary concept for its time. It ensures that even the weakest, the old, the women, the children, can lie down to sleep by the roadside in safety. He manages the growing trade with foreigners astutely, monopolizing the valuable sandalwood trade to enrich his kingdom while carefully controlling foreign influence, to preserve the traditions, culture, and sovereignty of the Hawaiian people. He is a modernizer and a traditionalist, a unifier who builds a nation that can stand with dignity in a changing world. In the spring of 1819, after a long and monumental reign, Kamehameha the Great falls ill. As he lies dying, his chiefs and his people gather, their grief immense. He passes away on May 8th, leaving behind a legacy that is nothing short of legendary. Following ancient custom, his closest companions take his body and secretly bury his bones in a hidden location, a place so sacred and secret that it remains unknown to this day, ensuring his final resting place will never be desecrated. His spirit, they believed, would continue to protect the kingdom he built. His legacy endures not just in the historical records or the statues that bear his likeness, but in the very existence of a unified Hawaii. Kamehameha's kingdom would survive for nearly 80 more years, a proud and independent nation navigating the turbulent waters of global politics. But the forces of change that arrived with those first foreign ships would eventually grow into a storm that no warrior, no matter how great, could stop. The story of the Hawaiian kingdom did not end with its founder. In many ways it was just beginning. To uncover more hidden histories and the epic sagas of the figures who shaped our world, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.